procrastination is the thief of time, but it's also the thief of joy. Let's talk about that. Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel, and if this is your first time here, hello, welcome. This is Essential Patience and I Am Patience. Today's video, I'm going to be talking about how to just stop wishing and start doing, because I am sure we all have goals and dreams, places that we want to be in the future, but we're stuck on it being in the dream world rather than putting it into action and making it our reality. It is time to just stop wishing and start doing. So let's get straight into it. But before we do, remember to like this video, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and share this video with somebody who you think will benefit from this conversation, so that you're not only wishing but also doing. So let's get straight into it. One of the first things you want to do is to define your goals. So what goal do you have? What is your dream? What do you really want to do? And what are you trying to accomplish? And with that, starting with that big picture, you want to start breaking it down. So I'll give you an example. When I wanted to pursue my master's degree, I had to start thinking about why did I want to do it? The career opportunities it would open for me, just the learning experience, and wanted to be that person who pursues a higher education because I felt like I had so much more to learn. And I had to break it down into what do I want to get it in? When do I want to start? How many classes am I going to need? All these things are specific, and breaking it down into something that just seems to be more manageable. So starting with step one of getting my application done, get all my recommendation letters, getting all of my materials together, submitting my application, breaking down the process one after a time. How many classes am I taking this year, next year, and where would I get in the future? It is really important that we don't overwhelm ourselves with these big picture things, because sometimes it may seem so unachievable, but when you break it down one at a time, you will see that it is very much achievable. Imagine if you wanted to join like 5-mile run. You don't just start one day by just running 5 miles. Most of us can't do that. But if you're able to start one at a time, maybe half a mile today, a couple of weeks you're moving on to 2 miles, and you take it in manageable steps. You can't just rush to a future all the time. They take time, they take sacrifice, and they take intention. So it is important that we define our goals and then we break them down into tangible steps that we can achieve. Don't just have random goals all of the time. Right now, I can be pursuing my master's in engineering management, doing a PhD in data science, and doing an MBA. Like, if I wanted to do all those, like, you take it one at a time. Not saying I want to, okay? Maybe in the future an MBA, maybe a PhD, but it's one at a time rather than putting all of these in at once and overwhelming yourself. The next one is creating a plan. And I already kind of talked about this when I gave you the example of my grad school. Create a plan as to how you will get there, a roadmap. It doesn't have to be detailed. It doesn't have to have all the answers, because oftentimes we learn more on the journey than what we knew when we started. So for example, when I started grad school, the program I decided to go in is more of a core program. So we have like these like 10-week classes. So you do a lot of work in 10 weeks. But after 10 weeks, that course is done. You're taking like 2 to 3 classes per year. So it's still gonna take a while. But making that roadmap as to what I can do and what I can take, what best fits in my life, because I am still working full time and I have this YouTube channel and I have like things going on in life, that made it more achievable. You know what, it's gonna take a while, but in like 2-3 years, I will be graduating with my master's. And like, I'm so proud of that. I'm so proud that I started, and I'm so proud of the future that roadmap leads me to. But if you don't have a roadmap, doing random things, how do you know what the potential future could look like? And like I'm saying, it doesn't have to be super detailed. You don't have to have every step. The number of sleepless nights, I definitely didn't plan for this. I definitely did not plan for some of this. Even though it looks different, the structure is the same and the end goal is definitely the same. And I hope to get there in the future with great success. The next thing is to set deadlines, making sure that you can just take that step and keep going, but then also you're not procrastinating. And that's something that I like again about this master's. I'll be using my master's program as a whole example. I definitely knew I had a deadline for myself. I didn't want to be taking and doing my master's for the next 10 years. I wanted to finish by the time 2026 rolled around, which is a while from now, but again, taking 2 to 3 classes per year, like that's what you get. What fits right now for me and what I've seen to benefit me. So you don't have to rush. It's just about starting. And I'm so glad like I took that step. And so if you're going to do it, take that step and have a deadline. It doesn't have to be a solid deadline. I do have a solid deadline because it is a master's program. Sometimes you don't have to have a hard set deadline, but it's just something to know there's an end to it, so that the sacrifice that you make in the moment, you know it's not forever. Like, I know these sleepless nights that I'm doing homework is not forever. There will be a day where I would no longer have to do anything for my master's degree because I would have graduated. Next is to prioritize tasks that would lead you towards that dream, towards that goal. For example, you want to move towards a healthy lifestyle. That's something that I personally live, but then I also always strive to be more healthier. Eating is very important. Yes, exercising is very important as well, but the way you eat is very important. A lot of people tell you that abs start in the kitchen, not in the gym. When you want to change your lifestyle, your health goals, you start with the way you eat. What are you prioritizing if you're trying to live a healthier lifestyle? You want to start making sure that you're planning for what you eat. A lot of times when we just grab something to eat, that's when we're eating a lot of unhealthy stuff. But when you sit down, when you plan, okay, today I'm eating this, next week I'm cooking to eat this. When you plan those things, you will be able to live a more healthier lifestyle because you're living your life planned. You'll be able to prioritize what is important, which is the food that you're making, and making sure that you're eating that food versus just grabbing anything and eating. I personally like to cook mostly on like the weekends because I don't like to be in the middle of the week thinking, oh, what am I gonna cook? What am I gonna eat? What am I gonna take to lunch? So I go to the grocery store, I prioritize buying healthy things. I stay away from a lot of unhealthy things. I mean, once in a while, ice cream, cookies. I like to bake my own cookies. What is important? Even back to my school, I prioritize doing my schoolwork now because as hard as it is, you know, sometimes you let it go of sleep. Sleep is important. I have a limited time. I have only 10 weeks to do my best for this class. I can always sleep if I survive after 10 weeks. So for the time being, I would sacrifice a little bit of sleep in order to prioritize my schoolwork so I can put my best foot forward and I can get the best grade I can. I don't want to go back and think, I wish I didn't go out this week. Maybe I could have gotten a better grade on this assignment. I don't want to ever feel that. So I always prioritize what is important that I can't go back and change. You would not have any regrets in the future. The next one is overcoming fear and procrastination, and those two go hand in hand. What if I fail? What if I fail? And you're so hard on yourself and you feel like you're not gonna make it to the point where you just don't start anyway. Fear can be crippling. I just try not to fear anything or anyone. God is the only healthy fears to have. And so for me, I try not to have fears in my life. It's like, what can I do? Now that I'm in a good place in my life, I know I can achieve so much more and that my life can get so much better. So when I'm sacrificing, want to pursue something, even though I still have that human doubt, I try not to let it cripple me, because I want to move on and I want to achieve my goals. I know time is gonna pass. And so I'm like, what can I do now that in the future, when time passes, I'm going to have that success, right? And so when I was starting grad school, I was definitely fearful. I had been out of school for 15 months. School always starts in the fall. Like, it started in the fall. I graduated like May of 2022 and I started my master's August of 2023. It was definitely that fear of like going back to the school environment, the fact that I was working. I was like, oh, am I going to be able to sustain this? Because my work, of course, is the most prioritized of them all. But then my schoolwork, I'm like, will I be able to get all the demands of grad school done? But if not now, then when? That's what I have to ask myself. If not now, when am I going to do it? Or am I just never going to do it because of all the demands? So I decided to put that fear away and to just start. I didn't want to procrastinate anymore. The innate feeling of saying, start next year, I can start the year after. But what's wrong with this year? What's wrong with starting now? And I'm so glad I took that leap of faith, because I'm so glad I started now so I can finish earlier. I can't wait to finish. And one of the most important lessons I've carried with me throughout my entire life is that procrastination is the thief of time. But it's also the thief of joy. Let's talk about that. It's the thief of joy, because you can't, at least I can't, enjoy myself when I know I have to do something that I'm not doing. I would always be like, I feel like this, I feel like this, I'm supposed to be doing this, I'm supposed to be doing that. And so it steals away so much from you. And I have just decided, like, okay, I'm not gonna procrastinate. And sometimes that is hard to do. But when you try to make it a habit of going for what you want and just doing it, not looking back, the reward is so much more. And I think a lot of us would be so much happier if we didn't procrastinate all the things that we know we have to do. So of course, if you overcome that fear of procrastination, it's important to start building good habits that support that. Habit building is hard. Letting go of bad habits is probably even harder. But it is important that in order to be consistent, because consistency is key, in order to be consistent, it is important that we build good habits that support that. Right now, I'm having a lot going on in my life. This channel is really hard to prioritize it. I obviously need work, how I pay my bills. I need school. It's a lot of my future. It's a lot of money. But then also this channel is a passion, and me trying to be consistent, prioritize it. In order to be able to get out 2 videos a week, I need good habits. 50 hours sometimes working my job, but then also making sure that, the time that I prioritize on the weekends to study and during the week as well to study, I still find time to edit videos, to film these videos, and to make sure I have these videos out there for my audience. And that's really important, because if I start slacking, maybe this time I'm too late, I can't get this video, by the time you see, I would have several excuses to not get the video out. And that's why it's important that, yes, time is limited, and it's really hard to have so many things going on at once. When you try to prioritize everything, sometimes things fall by the wayside. If you are passionate about a lot of things that you do, it's important to have habits that support it all going on. In life, it's very hard to focus on one thing, because we have things that are simultaneously going on, even if it's just cleaning your apartment, keeping a relationship with your friends and family. All of these things take time, and it's important that we build habits that support us having all of these things going simultaneously and having success in as much as we can in all aspects. After we build these habits that support it, because a lot of times being consistent is hard. So when you achieve successes, it is important that you celebrate your successes. Celebrating your successes helps keeps you motivated. And when I finished my first class, I was very happy that I allowed myself to buy some things that I had not budgeted for, just to celebrate. And when I finished this class, I am definitely taking myself out to a really nice dinner, treating myself to some nice self-care, because I have been through it, okay? Treating yourself to going out, going for a nice walk, hanging out with friends, going for a nice dinner. These are things that you sometimes have to take those small celebrations. And I'm not saying a mega party. I mean, if you do a big thing, go for it if you can afford a big party. But then having those small successes reminds us that we have achieved something. Because oftentimes, and I definitely did this to myself when I was in college, undergrad, where I sometimes disregarded the work that I've done because I always felt like I could have done better. So if, let's say, there was a semester that I got 1B, I would be like, oh no, I can't go off with it. I can't do it because I should have gotten a 4.0. I should have done better. I could have done better. Always being so hard on yourself is draining, because you have to be with yourself 24/7. You're the person, aside from God, who's just with you 24/7, and you don't want to be miserable in yourself. So being able to appreciate yourself for, even if you didn't achieve everything check by check, you've done something, you've accomplished it. That's not to promote mediocrity, because I definitely do not. But I've been working so hard that I know that I have to give myself credit for all the sacrifices that I made and for all of the good things that I accomplished. And I've really started to celebrate myself and to promote that self-care aspect of it, because being nice to self, being appreciative of yourself is a form of self-care. And with that, we don't live in the world alone. Sometimes we need support. So it's important that if you need to seek support from your schoolmates, family, your friends, your classmates, people that you're close to, because you go through a lot and sometimes you just need to talk. I definitely talk to people about it, the struggles. A lot of times it's just sometimes talking it out, the stress. Sometimes you just need that human interaction, people to just hug you and to just tell you everything's gonna be all right. Maybe sometimes that's all you needed to hear. That's literally it. Because in different situations, at different points in our lives, we need a different type of support. But it's never shame to speak up about needing support. It's really a good thing. Get that support that you need, because we don't live in this world alone. And provide that support to other people. I definitely like to provide that support to other people. It's really important that as humans we socialize in that way, and we keep that connection, and we help each other when we're in times of need. And when we are achieving goals, it's important to learn and adapt on our journey to that goal. And I've definitely done that in my school, because when I first started, even just the way I paced myself, I was so off balance, because I've been out of school for, like I said, a little over a year. And sometimes it may not sound like much, but you'll be surprised how being out of school for that long. Currently in school, you go on summer break, you come back. I feel like it takes a little while to adjust to the pace of things. And for me, it wasn't too difficult at the time because I always continued learning throughout the summer. But now it's a different pace altogether, especially holding down a full-time job that sometimes requires extra hours. It's important that I learn and I adapt to it. And definitely my schedule, I've had to adapt. And there have been times where I've like taken, time off because I typically don't take time off. But now I've made a practice of like maybe once a month. If I need that time, I take the day off and I just catch up with my learning. That's a good thing because I totally don't go on vacation, but having that time to study and to catch up is me just giving myself a breather and taking a little bit of pressure off of me versus trying to balance all of it. And when I see pace that is working for me, I hold on to that. Towards the end, like I was saying, halfway through my first course, I definitely got a hang of it and it made the class so much easier. Even though it was still challenging and time consuming, mentally speaking, it was definitely much easier and much more doable than it was in the first half. So always learn and adapt. And while you're on this journey, because the journey is one of the most important things, the goal of course is also important, but it's also important that you visualize reaching that goal. Visualize that dream coming true, that goal finally being here. And I definitely do. I visualize walking down that stage, waking up the next morning and not having class. In between dreaming for that goal and reaching that goal is the work, the consistent work, the day in, day out, the learning, the adapting. But it's so worth it. It's so worth it when you're able to visualize it and work for it, because sometimes it's like you can almost like taste it, like it's so close. I remember when I was about to graduate from undergrad, I could visualize walking down the stage, getting my degree, having a job. Like that was ahead of me, counting down the days towards graduation. I can't even describe it. It was so like euphoric and definitely kept me going in hard times, because towards the end of anything is probably like the hardest. When it came to pass, it was so worth it. All of the sleepless nights, all of the sacrifices, headaches, it was totally worth it. And it's really good to keep that visualization of like what it's gonna be like, because when that trouble comes, when struggle times, when the hard times comes, we definitely need those images in our heads to keep us going. Embrace the journey. Take pride in each step that you take because it's moving you forward. Just be proud of each step that you take forward, because that is one step closer to that dream, to that goal. And before you know it, you'll be looking back. Instead of dreaming for it, you would have achieved it. You'll be living it in the ambiance of it all. But most importantly, you'll be looking back at what you've achieved, what you've accomplished, rather than wishing for it. You'll be living that life. Time is gonna pass. We're gonna wake up in a few months and it's gonna be 2025. The difference is what you do with that time. So are you gonna procrastinate and let fear cripple you? Are you not going to have these goals that you want to achieve, learn and adapt along the way so you can achieve it? Are you not going to stay motivated, rely on the people around you to help you keep moving? Or are you just going to let it go? You're going to wake up a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now and not have achieved it. I decided to achieve my goals that I had for undergrad when I was there, and I look back and I don't regret it. And right now I'm putting my grad school into motion with that, and as well as so many other dreams that I have that I'm really looking forward to. But what you do with this time is really important, because the future is not guaranteed, but the present is now. And I'm very fulfilled in what I'm doing, and I'm very fulfilled in the actions that I'm taking to reach a better future, so that in the future I can know that I gave it my all and I did my absolute best. So I'm living my dream, my goals. I'm gonna know I worked so hard for it. I'm gonna really appreciate it. And with that, I'm bringing this video to an end. Thank you all so much for listening, and I really appreciate it. Let me know in the comment section, what goals are you planning on achieving, and like how are you going to implement this into achieving so many goals and so many dreams that you have. Maybe put on the back burner, but it's time to get it moving. Like this video, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Every notification bell, because I post 2 videos a week on Tuesdays and on Fridays. Come on over because the discussions are always great, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.